This is President Joe Biden. During his first day in office, Biden issued an executive order on protecting public health, the environment, and restoring science to tackle the climate crisis. One item in the executive order included revoking the March 2019 permit for the Keystone XL pipeline. The pipeline would have moved oil from Canada across the border into Montana, where American-produced oil would be added to the pipeline and connect to existing Keystone pipelines at Steel City, Nebraska. In total, it would have delivered to the Midwest as much as 830,000 barrels of oil per day. So why pull the permit for Keystone XL? Climate change, of course. As stated in the executive order, climate change has had a growing effect on the US economy, with climate-related costs increasing over the last 4 years. Extreme weather events and other climate-related effects have harmed the health, safety, and security of the American people, and have increased the urgency for combating climate change and accelerating the transition toward a clean energy economy. Even if we were able to get to a clean energy economy, the United States is still going to need oil and natural gas for the foreseeable future. For example, in places like, say, Minnesota, you can use an electric heat pump instead of boilers or furnaces for part of the year. However, most homes will need natural gas or propane during their extreme cold weather temperatures. I mean, if you want to trust wind turbines to run your heating system in -5-degree weather, be my guest. And what about California, where they can't go a year without rolling blackouts? If you demand that all vehicles need to be electric, that's going to put an even bigger strain on California's power grid. Mix in the fact that 10% of the state's power comes from these 2 nuclear reactors at Diablo Canyon, reactors that are poised to be shut down in the next couple of years. California could fix this by building new nuclear power plants, but a law from the 1970s prohibits new facilities from being built. The only thing here to say is, good luck, morons. And even though the technology doesn't actually exist yet to get us to the Biden ice cream administration's goal of a 100% clean energy economy by 2050, we need to shut down Keystone XL because the future of the United States and the world is at stake. The Keystone XL pipeline serves the US national interest. The United States and the world face a climate crisis. That crisis must be met with an action on a scale and at a speed commensurate with the need to avoid setting the world on a dangerous, potentially catastrophic climate trajectory. Okay, so according to Joe Biden, the United States has to do everything in its power to not only stem the effects of climate change here in America, but also globally. Which is why Biden's actions regarding another pipeline didn't actually make a lot of sense. On January 1st, 2021, the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2021 was passed by Congress that included sanctions for companies who worked on or insured the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline would deliver natural gas from Russia to Germany. Nord Stream 2 is fully owned by Gazprom, which in turn is owned by the Russian state. So the pipeline's existence wholly benefits the Russian government and their cronies. One State Department official called it a Kremlin geopolitical project that threatens European energy security. For example, Russian natural gas currently has to pass through Belarus, Ukraine, and Poland to get to Western Europe. But with Nord Stream 2 and a direct pipeline to Germany, they can completely bypass those countries. In other words, Nord Stream 2 would also make it easier for Russia to cut off the gas supply to Ukraine, which has happened before. So giving Russia the upper hand is not ideal. In February 2021, Axios reported that allies were worried that Biden was shaky on Nord Stream 2. Russia's adversaries in Central and Eastern Europe are worried President Biden isn't willing to fight hard to stop the Russia-Germany gas pipeline Nord Stream 2, one of Vladimir Putin's core priorities. And as it turns out, they were right. In May, the Biden administration decided to waive sanctions on Nord Stream AG, the corporate entity overseeing the construction of Nord Stream 2, and its CEO, Putin crony and former East European intelligence officer Matthias Warnig. So the State Department acknowledged that both the company and its CEO were engaged in sanctionable activities, and we're like, whatever.
On Nord Stream, but I know that there's a lot of talk about Nord Stream and Keystone, and I'm just trying to help people understand it.
Is there?
Well, yes.
Jen Psaki is so needlessly flippant, especially to right-leaning media. Oh, she's such a bitch.
President Biden blocked the Keystone XL pipeline here because he said it would undermine U.S. climate leadership and undercut our ability to urge other countries to take ambitious climate action. So how is he urging other countries to take ambitious climate action if he's letting other countries build Nord Stream 2?
First, we're hardly letting any country or other countries build Nord Stream 2. When the president took office, 95% of this pipeline was built.
Okay, fine, we aren't letting them build Nord Stream 2, but we are making it a hell of a lot easier by not sanctioning their sanctionable actions, don't you think? But it's fine. It was gonna be built anyway. So, the State Department sent a report to Congress on the Nord Stream 2 matter, and according to NBC News, who obtained a copy of that report, Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated that the sanctions were waived because those sanctions would negatively impact US relations with Germany, the EU, and other European allies and partners. Yeah, you wouldn't want to make Angela Merkel mad at the United States because Germany and Western Europe can't get natural gas from other sources. That would be a shame. The State Department report also said that close cooperation with Germany, the European Union, and other European countries will be critical for US efforts to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic, promote a global economic recovery, fight climate change, and address other challenges, including countering malign behavior by Russia and China. So countering malign behavior by Russia is to waive sanctions against them. Got it. Now this is where it gets a little more interesting. Back in June 2019, Joe Biden made the following pledge on Twitter. From day one, we've refused to take money from any corporate PACs or lobbyists. Today, I'm building on that base by signing No Fossil Money's pledge to reject support from the PACs, lobbyists, or executives of fossil fuel companies. I work for you, not any industry. And a graphic underneath went into a little more detail. I pledge not to take contributions of over $200 from oil, gas, or coal industry executives, lobbyists, or political action committees, and instead prioritize the health of our families, climate, and democracy over fossil fuel industry profits. Signed, Joe Biden. So, did Biden live up to that pledge? Yeah, right. According to the Federal Election Commission's database, Richard Burt, the former US ambassador, a managing partner at McGlarty Associates, and a top Russia lobbyist, contributed $4,000 to Biden's campaign and another $10,000 to a super PAC called Unite the Country. But don't worry guys, the DNC found out in May 2021 that he was a registered foreign agent who was ineligible to contribute, and they returned the money. I mean, not before Biden waived the sanctions, but it's fine. But is mainstream media asking about it? Nah, there are more important questions to be asked.
Mr. President, what did you order?
Chocolate chip.
Oh, ice cream. Anyway, on that note, that's it for now. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hope to see you next time. If there is a next time.